Hey guys, it's Cam with your Fantasy Physios, here to bring you the latest news and updates on injuries and injury-related news about your best and favorite players in the NFL, NHL, and other sports. So, what do we see today? We saw the Chiefs and the Chargers playing we thought it would be a more shootout match, but it ended up being a lower scoring game than most thought. But the more significant story at the end of the game was Justin Herbert's injury. He took a few shots during that fourth quarter and seemed to be getting up in pain, grasping the left side of his chest. So we're suspecting probably a rib injury here. So let's talk about the anatomy first. What are the ribs? Obviously, ribs are freaking great barbecues, but in our case here, we're talking about the ribs. So we're talking about the chest wall, so the bones that create the chest wall. There are 12 ribs on each side of your chest, and they serve to protect the vital organs that sit underneath there. So your lungs and a few other organs that are really important in your survival, your heart, for example. So what kind of injuries can happen to your ribs? Now, obviously, they're bones, so there can be a range of injuries ranging from just a soft tissue contusion or a bone bruise up to a fracture. And again, the degree of fracture can vary as well. So obviously, depending on the type of injury, the recovery timeline will be different for each of them. So anything from no time missed at all, if it was just a bone bruise, and just playing through the pain, versus missing 2 to 3 months if it was a significant rib fracture. Again, it would depend on the significance of the fracture and maybe if there were multiple ribs that are fractured at different levels. The reason for that is because we don't want to risk a pneumothorax if you have a fractured rib, because it's a sharp object and that's going to be floating around and potentially can cause or puncture a hole into your lung, creating a lung collapse. And obviously, that would be a medical condition that we do not want to be fooling around with. So, what is Justin Herbert's injury? Right now, it's a little bit too hard to tell. He did sit out for one play. He did go back in again afterwards. I think he took another shot to the rib. Took him a little bit of time to get back up. I think he stayed until the end of the game. I probably would not have risked it if I were the head coach, but again, that's not my job right now. So he did seem to be able to grimace and work his way through the game. However, you can definitely see that he was favoring those ribs, and it was to the point where he couldn't even throw the ball well, or well, I say that and he threw a dart, but he couldn't even run 2 to 3 yards to get the extra yardage to get that first down on 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 6, I believe it was, in that fourth quarter. So obviously, he was in a lot of pain. He played through it. Right now, it's a bit too early to tell the extent of the injury. He'll probably end up getting x-rays and CT scans the next day or so that we might get a better understanding of what's going on. And once we know the extent of the injury, again, ranging from anything from getting the wind knocked out of him and the bone bruise to a multiple rib fracture, unstable fracture, that would dictate how long he might be missing time. So stay tuned. Hopefully we'll get the report soon and we can update you guys in the meantime. All right, so stay tuned. Watch out for that video and we'll catch you next time.